Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're well. You amazing, amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. Look who it is. It's Mr. Popular. I'm Mr. Popular. You're amazing. You look amazing. You are amazing. And look, I've got some things to talk about. So strap yourselves in as we're going on a little bit of a journey. So look, I did a video yesterday and it somewhat split the room, which I expected it to split the room. But what we generally see is when people then go on the attack, they start making comments. And look, one of the comments, like I'll give you this as an example. So somebody turns around and they say, yeah, but you've been supporting Joseph Morris and Wax and saying how fantastic they are for weeks. And look, Wax is good. I like Wax and what he's been doing for the case and bringing information out and showing that information I'm right behind. With respect to Joseph Morris, I have not, will not ever support that person. I've spoken about how this creator had fabricated content in the IDAHO 4 case by way of creating audio, which would seemingly depict the sounds of people being hurt in the actual crime in the IDAHO 4 case. And that was fabricated. It was shown and proven to be fabricated. Okay, so that's why I don't get behind that person. I also pulled up a specific piece of information that he had used regarding Tom Hilton, which was a post that was stated that it was Tom Hilton talking about being in Tenerife and seeing or hearing the helicopters overhead, which I showed and proved that again was fabricated. Now, I'm not saying that Joseph Morris fabricated that. He could have been sent that and somebody else fabricated it. Point being, that was fabricated. And that's where we find ourselves. And like I say, don't go anywhere because I'm going to be talking about the video that I did and why I concluded what I did and just extrapolating upon what I'm trying to say, which so many people just can't grasp it. But first of all, what we do have to talk about is getting paid off, okay? Because this situation needs to be addressed. Now, what I will say is, I don't understand what people are saying in terms of you've been paid off. Now, I know that there has been creators that have claimed that they are being threatened and that they feel that they can't continue to do content. And I addressed this. I said, if you are going to call people out, if you are going to accuse them of doing things, then they do have the right to respond. That is just the way it goes. So if you are calling someone or say... And I'm not sticking up for this person because I think that this person talks way too much. But Brad's mum, for instance, if people are gunning for Brad online, then she is going to have, especially if she's a type of person, a certain type of person, she is going to defend him. And it could go as far as to threaten people. That's just the mentality of some people. It's not indicative of anything nefarious. And again, what I will say is I don't know if there's any nefarious intent or any nefarious issues in the background. That's not what we're addressing here. What we're addressing is the accusations of people being paid off. And I was accused of being paid off. You've done a 180, which I've never, ever done a 180. What I've done, I've looked at every single thing that has been out, and we have spoken and shared things and looked about whether they are credible, whether they are non-credible. And I still say to this day that the story being pushed, the one that we're being handed off by Jay's friends or associates, whatever, I do not find that credible. I don't find that version of events credible. But I think that what people are doing, they're seeing these shiny things and they're missing the point. They're going... People will, if they want to hide something, what is the best way to hide something? And that is to give people what they are looking for, so they go for that instead. But anyway, I'm going to backpedal and just talk about getting paid off. Now, what I will say is, and what I find disturbing, is that people can attack me and turn around and say, you're disgusting or whatever, or call me names. But off the back end of it, they're basing that name calling on the fact that they feel that I've been threatened and I've stopped supporting Jay and the hunt for justice in the Jay Slater case. Now, I have 5 children. I have 4 girls and 1 boy. Now, what I will say is, and I don't know who people are trying to suggest is threatening, whether it's people who are involved in drug trafficking or body part trafficking or the mafia or gangs. But what I will say is I will absolutely put my family's well-being before the hunt for justice in the Jay Slater case, with respect of coming onto this platform and continuing to go over stuff if my family was threatened. Now, it could be like people have turned around and said, you've been paid off. Again, why would the mafia, for instance, or drug traffickers or drug traffickers want to pay me to stop doing videos? Again, if these are the people who are involved, then surely it would make more sense to leverage me with fear rather than leverage me with money. That doesn't make sense, especially when I do have a family. So I don't know. But what I will say is, this isn't about whether I've been paid off, because I haven't been paid off. I haven't been paid off. But what I am saying is categorically stating, had I been approached by drug traffickers or body traffickers or, anything, or the mafia, for instance, and it was a choice between continuing the hunt for justice for Jay Slater, someone who I don't know, and someone hurting my family, then, I am going to protect my family. I would seemingly, I would feel that perhaps anybody placed in that situation would likely do the same. What I'm saying is that hasn't happened. And it's concerning that people think that it's happening. And this feeds into the entire point in the Jay Slater case. And that is that it's gotten to a point where people are unwilling to accept or even look at or consider an alternative to the absolute craziest of stories. And what I've said to people is, I've said, and I said in that last video, if you show me something tangible, show me something, some proof of something, then I will bring it to the community. I will show it. I will continue doing videos. What I will not continue to do is recycle the same stuff that doesn't go anywhere. Again, case in point, the Tom Hilton post that was fabricated. It was faked. I showed it was fake. I showed the original post and how it had been posted on one of the Jay Slater pages on Facebook, and it had been utilized as a topic of conversation in a video to push a completely separate narrative. Now, I am not saying that Tom Hilton isn't involved in what happened to Jay Slater. What I'm saying, I don't know whether he is, and there has been no tangible proof shown that he is. And the things that are being shown to try and connect him to this crime are being fabricated. That's what I'm saying. So if you look at everything from a standpoint of what do we know hasn't been fabricated, there isn't much that we don't know has been fabricated, but what we do know is Jay's dead. Now, there is a story going on about at the moment, which people are messaging me about, and that is somebody who is apparently all over YouTube, for instance, not YouTube, sorry, Facebook, saying that Jay's alive, that he was shipped out of the country secretly to some location in Ireland, and he is working off a debt, and he is alive. Makes good story, that. Would probably make a video that would, if Wax did it, for instance, would probably garner 40, 50,000 views. But are we saying that we believe that Jay Slater is currently living in Ireland working off a drug debt? Now, do I know, or is it outside the realms of possibility that Jay got tangled up in something that he shouldn't have? He could have done. He absolutely could have done. But you need tangible proof. And you get yourself in a situation where when you're a content creator, you have to go in a direction. And that is what I would do with the Jay Slater case. Do I keep wasting my time and wasting your time by recycling stuff that has no viable credibility to it? Like the beach pictures, the beach photographs, the beach video. And I think to myself, we're talking about a video that clearly isn't new. It's an old video. And, and what we're talking about, that this happened in front of CCTV on a beach and seemingly depicts the murder of somebody, and someone potentially filmed that or someone's camera caught that, that would have been a slam dunk case. But what we're saying is that that's not the case and that it was all covered. They are literally now covering another story in Tenerife of a TikToker who was out there and was attacked. Her room was attacked, the windows all smashed in, and had a bottle thrown at her. And yet that has come out, it's been publicly shown and spoken about. We're hearing about these other cases as well. If Jay Slater had have been killed on the beach by people and it would have been caught on CCTV, or there was witnesses and they were filming it, it would have been everywhere. You wouldn't have been able to hide that. You wouldn't have been able to keep that quiet. The horse has bolted on that in terms of hiding it. And when I did the video the other day, I spoke about the fact that, look, when I take everything into consideration that has some form of credibility to it, the only thing that makes sense to me, because of my conclusion that, and it remains the same, I still don't believe that somebody who is completely compos mentis would have done what we're being suggested Jay did. And I stand by that. I stand by the fact that Jay, if he was in his right mind, he wouldn't have done what he did. A normal person with no aggravating factors involved wouldn't have ventured on that walk. He wouldn't have put himself in a position where he was in danger in that way, in my opinion. But again, there is no proof to support that opinion. That is just my opinion. So when I then think, so my opinion is that Jay Slater, the only thing that makes sense is that he wasn't compos mentis. Now, it could be that because of my own experiences, he could have been under the influence of something. I have also stated that even fear could have been an aggravating factor here, and that is something that we've heard and talked about. But also people are missing an even bigger point here, which I turned around and said, I don't believe the story that his friends are telling us. I don't believe it, and I do believe that they are lying. And there are elements to this story where the biggest factor in all this is, when did this happen? What actually happened and who was involved and who knew about it? And we've had clues, which there has been statements made about searching for Jay Slater at night. At night. We've been told that the time frame, the timeline, and when things were seen happened at this time, 8:30 in the morning. But if you scrap that and think, we don't need that time, because that doesn't make no sense, it doesn't belong here, but then you bring Jay away from that club earlier when he is still fucked off his nugget, and you put it in the night time, and Jay goes off and he fucks off, and they're looking for him and they're shouting for him, they're hunting for him in the dark, and he is walking under the influence of something in the dark and falls. But then all of a sudden these people are left behind, and they're like, what are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? They've got two options, and that is that they either admit to what they were doing if they are involved in anything. Now, this is where it comes into, were they doing something nefarious when they were over there themselves? And the don't get high on your own supply situation. Now, if there is an element of truth to that, and they were out there selling, they were out there dealing, and this was someone who did indeed get too high on their own supply, or their supply, then you've got a reason for the amount of people around this situation lying. And that's why I turned around and said, I believe that the people around Jay are lying. But I stand by what I said the other day in terms of, I don't think somebody who was compos mentis would have done what Jay did. So you either believe that Jay Slater fell, and he fell to his death, which I get some people don't believe that he was even there. But if he wasn't even there, then we're going down the other route again, and we're looking at the beach video then. We're looking at the Maruba boat, and you want to bring them into the fray. And that's the bit that I can't get behind, because I don't trust the beach video. I don't trust the Maruba connection, because it doesn't make sense to me. It seems too fantastical. Does that make sense? So if you want to stick with the channel, stick with it. If you don't, I appreciate it. Do you know what I mean? Either way, because we all have different mindsets. But what I don't like is the fact that people will, in one hand, feel that I have been paid off, threatened off, whatever, but then they won't consider, if that was even the case, which again it's not, but if it was, that you wouldn't consider that a viable reason to step away and think, you know what, I've got a wife, I've got children, and somebody is threatening their well-being unless they will be hurt if I carry on talking about Jay Slater on YouTube. That to me is, I don't know what to do with that. So if you're someone who couldn't see that as being problematic, then you don't belong on this channel. You know, that would be when I wouldn't carry on doing videos at all. You know, if it came between the fact that my family were in a genuine danger because of what I was doing on this platform, then I would seriously rethink my position on this platform. And I would hope that anybody out there would absolutely do anything in their power to protect those around them, because they're the type of people that I want around this channel. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I'm out. I don't think there'll be any more videos today, but I'll be back tomorrow. Love you all.